So, I've been at this whole YouTube thing now for over a year, and I thought I'd go back to my roots with Heroes and Generals, the very game I started out with. It just released. It's finally out of beta after all these years, so I thought I'd make a celebratory video to kind of congratulate them. Just kidding, it's a negative review. I know, congratulations are in order. I have followed this game for a long time, and I am happy that they're finally out of beta, but the release was just so weird, shoddy, to say the least. The last beta update sought out to fix a lot of things, but then they didn't. They made things worse. So I'm going to release a little mini-series that closely analyzes a few aspects of the game that could use a real rework. So this first video is going to be about the new update. I don't know how to pronounce it. Jarman? Garmin? I googled it plenty, found nothing. Wait, never mind, I actually found it. Still don't know how to pronounce it. Here's his wiki page. Ironically, he's a medic, and this update removed a lot of the medic packs in the game. Okie dokie. So they added these badass amphibious vehicles that I love spawning. However, it's unfortunate that they were added on a map change overhaul because I was curious to see how they'd affect the old maps. Oh, and these railroad tracks that are stretched and spread out through several maps blow ass. Take note of the vehicle graveyard. The game is definitely brighter, and there's always a glowing full moon at night. I think people still have problems with seeing enemies, so I don't know if that fixed much of that, but with that much light, it also brings out some of the textures in the game in a bad way. It kinda looks like we're playing as miniatures or toys in a tabletop strategy game.
I think we're in the model.
No, wait, finally thought of it. It's Beetlejuice. It looks like the freaking Beetlejuice replicas of the town, with that spotlight always hanging over it.
How dare you interrupt a professional while he's working?
Yeah, I miss the old, gritty kind of feeling to it. The game was dark. It was hard to see into forests and whatnot, especially with some of the camo in this game, but I don't know. It is a World War II era game. It just kind of gives it that grainy World War II feeling. So anyways, everybody's already up in arms about how this update sought out to fix spawn camping, and ironically worsened it by a lot. And I agree, yes, overall it seems pretty bad. The old spawn system was tedious with the raiding grace period mechanic, and this confused a lot of players. I know the system was in place to give invaders a window of opportunity for getting onto the point, but it resulted in the obnoxious flickering of availability for the defenders waiting to respawn, usually making them opt out and spawn elsewhere out of frustration or obliviousness. However, if they were patient enough to wait, they had the chance to spawn on top of invaders for cheap ghost kills. At least there was a silver lining to spawning at these secondary points because the enemy was preoccupied with the forward point. Only the utmost spawn rapists would have the foresight to skip a point to kill respawns at the next point, but even then, at least the respawns were inside a group of buildings for cover. In addition, you'd be at the subsequent capture point that will be sieged, so you feel like you're still in a relevant place. Now, I like a few of the changes. Mainly the separation between offense and defense are kind of separated to the opposite sides of each point. That's kind of nice. But unfortunately, it's come at a hefty price. A lot of mountains that oversee half of the entire map were added, and now tanks and snipers are even more devastating than before. With spawn points now in a lot of open fields away from the objectives and its buildings surrounding it, spawning as infantry is like a suicidal lemming march, whether you have a vehicle or not. Now, my unique suggestion for spawn protection would be to finally implement the anti-tank gun. Just add these to certain points where spawn camping is prevalent. As long as these guns can't see much outside of where they're placed, it would ensure that they get used purely for spawn protection. Also note that AT guns use high explosive shells for repelling infantry. Adding these stationary cannons in hopeless and dismal areas would be a good way of saying, hey, you're already winning, back off of our spawn. Okay, so this one's kind of a community suggestion, and that's provide a bunch of cover for the people that just spawned rather than having a bunch of cover at the capture points. So much like B3 on the town level, B2 and B3 there's plenty of forest, trees. I think it might be missing some boulders. Throw a lot of boulders in there because that provides cover from tank fire. Like a tank could still blindly fire into a forest if he thinks it's a high traffic area, but boulders would negate some of that spawn camping, that barrage of shells. Now, I'm not saying that there should be tunnels made out of trees that connect every spawn point to capture point, but at least have enough to where an enemy can not see into the spawn point itself. As of right now, you could see invisible players appearing out of thin air even if you're miles away. Games that have this just look stupid, and it's pitiful in the sense that you're seeing people magically appear just to be executed over and over. Oh, it gets worse. Not only is it bad when you're at your own spawn point, but ironically enough, if you're at their spawn point, it really sucks too, with this new black and white spawn protection bullshit. Tankers abuse these spots already by camping within them so you can't run up and plant bombs on said tanks. And if this craptacular system was implemented to prevent spawn camping, couldn't they just make players in vehicles and on foot invulnerable for a few seconds after they spawn? A common mechanic found in countless video games throughout time? Some of these new spawn points are in truly horrid places that opposing players need to pass through. I mean, this high traffic bottlenecked bridge is a spawn point? And when the invaders finally cross these brutal rage-inducing rivers and manage to secure the point, they respawn back on the river or completely behind it again. And it gets even worse. When you finally attack the city, enemy spawn points are in between you and the objective, so the enemy can either spawn behind or on top of you while being able to retreat into their bullshit protected spawn zones. And every single map is plagued with this totally trash design. How did any of this make it past the test servers? I don't get it. I mean, this update being named after this Garmin guy makes it seem like he invented weaponized AIDS or something. Sorry. Look, I'm sorry for the brutal tirade, but I feel like if I said it any lighter, it'd be an understatement. Consider it, I don't know, tough love. Like, I just want to convey what the H&G community is feeling right now, the sheer frustration that this update has brought. So thanks for hearing me out, and upcoming in my mini H&G series is my tackle on the squad update. I'm also going to release a video on neat little ideas like aesthetic knickknacks that might sell like hotcakes and give the devs a little more revenue. I know everyone has a Patreon account, but I feel like I really need one because I'm running on nothing. A tip jar is in order here, and if you want to fund my cause, I greatly appreciate it, and here's the link. Please like, subscribe, and even share these videos. I need the audience's help to get off the ground. I'm going to give my channel a complete overhaul, but don't worry, I won't put enemy spawn protection zones in between you and your destination.